Before I go into the analysis, I think it's quite important just to apply a little bit of context. So what we're going to look at is the formations and the setups of the two teams that we're evaluating. Ossett Town is the team I've been asked to analyse, and this is how their manager has set them up. He set them up in a 4-3-3. So I've put Droylsden in yellow. They're playing more of a 3-4-1-2 formation. Okay, and in terms of how that matches up on a numerical perspective, you can see that they've got huge numerical superiority when trying to play out from the back. You could argue it's 4 versus 1, or if these guys come here to try and press high, you can start to see that they potentially get a 4-5 versus 3 within the middle third of the pitch. So that's some of the areas where there's a bit of an overload. In order to try and compensate, Ossett Town are going to ask this player to come back in and try and make it an extra player in midfield where needs be, and ask these players to just come back in here if the attack was going down their side of the pitch, leaving the other winger to stay high up as a counter-attacking threat. What I was tasked to do as part of my analysis was look at how frequent the opposition penetrated between the lines or in between half-space zones. We can see that Ossett achieved penetration 17 times to Droylsden's 55, so it's no surprise that Droylsden won this game quite comfortably. So one of the first examples that we're going to look at here in the first half, I'm highlighting the half-space zone, is how Droylsden achieved penetration here. Now at the moment the balance of players between Ossett is not too bad, but they're getting outnumbered in the central areas because the left-sided central midfielder is getting drawn into the channels. So as I pause it here, you'll see he's out wide and they're getting 4 versus 2 in the central zones of the football pitch. This is something that happened on a frequent basis and allowed Droylsden to retain possession comfortably. I'm highlighting here the holding midfielder in this situation where he should be using his body to screen passes to prevent penetration here. But he's not quite got the awareness of what's behind him, and so he can't block and force the play out wide here. And this is how Droylsden on this occasion achieved penetration. So you can see in the 5th and 4th lane, there are people occupying those zones in and around where the ball is. But if you look at lane 3, the central area of the pitch, there's perhaps not quite as much balance. But we've got a decent amount of pressure, but yet Droylsden still achieved penetration in this example. And again, it's the same as the last time. We can see again the holding midfielder not having the awareness of where, and he could use his body to block that passing off. And it's too simple. And we can also see the fullback showing the player inside instead of forcing the play out wide. And we can see here the centre-back perhaps on the wrong side of the shoulder, play out wide. In this example, I'm of the opinion that the two central midfielders have pushed on too high and not left a defensive balance in central midfield with having a defensive pivot. And it's fine if they win the ball, in my opinion, but you can see there's a lot of space between the defence and midfield line to exploit, and very vulnerable to the counter-attack and open through the middle. I think if there was defensive centre midfielder, I think they'd pick this ball up here, but consequently the left-back is challenged now to go and win this loose 50-50. And when he doesn't come out on the top here, it now leaves us exposed, stretched, with players having to fill in positions that they're perhaps not as comfortable in. So you can see here the number 11 is having to play into a left back position. Players are recovering, but you can see we're outnumbered in central midfield 2v1. We're unable now to prevent them playing through the half space where they gain penetration. And you can see here the left back and left sided midfielder get their roles, in my opinion, the wrong way round. The left sided centre midfielder should press the ball, and the guy who's in the left back position should just stay connected to the back line to keep defensive balance.